Wake. YouTube always wakes up last. Did the internet give us another day to do our thing? To be like, yeah, the internet has given you permission to exist. Looks like we're getting that permission to exist. This is yeah, there it is. There it is. Oh, beautiful. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, salutations, whatever's going on where you're at. I hope it is good. I hope it is well. I hope you are staying safe. I hope you are staying home. I hope you're just living it well on this lovely Thursday, May the 7th, in this quarantine year of our Lord 2020. I got a guest today, and I'm so excited to have this guy again. I love talking to him. He's one of my favorite people to collaborate with. You probably know who he is. He is the host of the Humanist Report, one of my favorite progressive talk shows on all of YouTube. Please welcome to the show, Mike Figueredo. Mike, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing well. It's really great to be back. You are one of my favorites as well, so thank you so much for all of the kind words.
Thanks, man.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. And so we were talking a little bit off mic, and we got to share some of the stuff we were talking about. So we're both big animal lovers, and you have cats and dogs. I just have a cat, but yeah, how has everything been for the furry loved ones? That was a weird way to put it, huh? That almost sounds like we both have a weird hobby, but I'm talking about it.
Maybe I don't. No. I'm too like much of a normie to be that like I don't know out there. No, the fur babies are doing good though. We just added another member to the family. Got a puppy, and like.
Oh, cool.
6 months ago, if you told me that I'd have a puppy, I would have said you're absolutely out of your mind. But this kind of like popped up. My mother-in-law, she has a coworker whose daughter was having puppies. And, she told us about it. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure that they're adorable, but we're good. We've got a dog and a cat. We're good. We have a puppy now.
So what's the puppy's name?
His name is Zoya. And
Zoya.
Fun fact, that's actually a Russian name. So you can have all the conspiracy theories you want.
Nice. So the Kremlin gave you a puppy.
Yeah. And you want to know what's funny? And I don't know if I've shared this before. My dog's name is Vladimir. Literally, I named him this before all of the Russiagate hysteria. I may have rethought that. But fun story is we got him when I was really interested in Russian politics in 2013. I wrote a paper about sexism in Russia and specifically about how Vladimir Putin ran like a campaign that was really explicitly and overtly sexist. And I was really interested in all the homophobia going on there. So I thought it would be funny to be like, hey, I'm naming my dog Vladimir because one, I think the name is cute for like a little pug. And two, because it was like, it was kind of interesting to me, like Russian politics, but it wasn't just Russian politics. I was studying, UK politics. I was a comparative political scientist student.
Sure you were studying all of them. I wrote a paper on Russian nihilism when I was in college. So
did you really?
Neither one of us can hide anymore, Mike. Our secret's out.
Yeah.
Our secret's out.
That's the connection. That's the smoking gun. I have a dog named Vladimir and now one named Zoya. So, I mean, make of it what you will, folks. I'm a Russian tool. It's official.
The Twitter agents reached out to you directly. They were like, it is time for Vladimir to have sibling. Sibling will be delivered at $200.
You've done your job. I don't have a good Russian accent, but...
Well, how's your cat handling the quarantine? Is your cat like totally stoked that you and your husband are home all the time now? I mean, I know you have your job is very home oriented because you do the show and stuff, but is your cat pretty stoked for everything? Or
she was really excited until we introduced the puppy into her life, and now she's kind of like, why do this? We had a great thing going. But she's curious. She's just a little bit of a fraidy cat. So we're having to do that in steps. Although I will say, we had a conversation about our cat's philosophies, and my cat did before we got the puppy. She reread Marx, and she won't shut up about it. That's all she talks about. Marx this, Marx that. It's like, we get it. You're a socialist, okay? Flirting with communism. So that's kind of been occupying her. But I mean, she's been doing really good. She hasn't talked to Lucy in a while. We haven't been Skyping back and forth, but
We got to
otherwise she's
change
been great.
that.
Yes, we do. How is Lucy doing?
So Lucy is loving this a bunch. I think she's the happiest she's ever been. She does have those moments where she's like, "Are you guys can leave for a while now, right? Like I can have my place back. You guys are back already? Okay." But then if we're gone for too long, like if we go like shopping and then maybe we go to a farmer's market or something, she will get stressed out sometimes, almost like a dog does, where it's like, "Where are they? Why aren't they coming back?" Which she never did before. But I think she's so used to us being around all the time that she's sort of it's her normal now. And she's lost weight because she is getting so much playtime. Like she's not, I mean, she's eating totally normally.
Okay.
It's not a bad, like she's actually probably at the perfect weight right now.
That's good. That's
because
good.
like every time I take her in, they're like, she's a little heavy. Just make sure you're playing with her and watch the treats. And I do. I mean, I give her one treat a day. She gets a treat after I brush her. It's not like I'm like one of these crazy treat cat people, like I'm very, very reasonable. I don't feed her too much. And I haven't changed her diet at all. She just is getting so much playtime. Like whenever she wants it, it's there. She is like, she made this jump from our couch to our kitchen table. And it's a jump that a young cat could make fairly easily. But a cat her age, she's 14. I can't, like, I was really surprised when she did it. Like, I was really impressed. And I'm like, that's awesome. I mean, she's still, very young at heart. I mean, she still plays. She's still very active. And, hopefully that continues for a really long time. But that jump, I was like, whoa, did you just do that? Because, like, I've seen her in the past. Like, she'll think about doing that jump and been like, nope, I'm not quite that cat anymore. I can still do some stuff. But not that leap. Now she makes the leap. And then I think she noticed that I was impressed by it. So now she just does it all the time. Now she just like I was like just eating dinner and she literally did the thing where she did the jump because it's like, I was sitting at our kitchen table eating and she jumped from the couch and she just stood there like she was like, huh? I can do this again. Look at me. I'm awesome.
That's amazing. She's 14 and she's in the best shape of her life. How incredible is that?
I mean, it's so cool. I mean, that's the one. I mean, obviously, I'm not thrilled about what's going on in the world right now, but it's like you kind of look for little silver linings where you can. And one of the ones that in my personal life is like all the quality time I've been able to have with my cat that has, and my wife too, it has enriched her life because she just gets an overabundance of attention. She's a very pampered cat all the time. I mean, but like, don't get me wrong. She was getting a lot of attention beforehand, but we both live in Southern California. We both had pretty active lives before all this. We were both in and out of the apartment a lot. So, now that that's not the case, she is getting a lot of attention and playtime. And so it's been good. And, I hate to like, on a serious note, man, it's so awesome you guys got a puppy because, I walk by the Humane Society in my neighborhood all the time because it's like right down the street from me. And those organizations are hurting right now. Yeah. Like they're hurting right now because they don't, they have all these animals and like a lot of people aren't adopting right now. So if you're able to, and I know a lot of people aren't able to, and I understand that, but if you're in a situation where you are able to, where you're like, man, I'd love to get a dog. The only thing holding me back is all the time for training and all that. Well, now's the time because these animals, they need homes right now. They need them. Yeah. And if your only issue is time, well, guess what? You got it now. You got plenty of time to really train a dog because I know it's a lot of work. It's a ton of work, but you probably got the time right now. So I hope that people who are able are, taking animals in if they're able. If they're not able, different story. But
we'll say this, that if you go to the local like Facebook page or website of your Humane Society, they usually will feature an animal like one per week that you can sponsor and donate to. And if you don't have cash, you can basically you could buy food for it. buy toys. So there is a way that you can support, and yeah, it's really, really important. And I like to see the numbers in terms of pet adoptions. A lot of people are adopting pets, and a lot of them are rescues, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because they need homes, and if you can, definitely support your local shelter, because there are ways to do it. Like, I know a lot of people who just aren't, like, even with quarantine, they won't adopt pets, but just sharing like a post of like a little buddy, like a good boy or girl from the Humane Society, you can do a lot for that. I shared a post, and I think that just my friends alone raised like over $100 for a little doggo. This was like last year. They haven't done a feature since, but it's really important. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, man. So let's move on to other things going on in the world other than our fur babies.
Yeah, we could talk about them forever.
We could talk about them forever. So, Joe Biden, how excited are you?
On a scale from a 1 to a 10, I'm at a 1. If there's lower than 1, then we're there. We're there.
There's lower. There's negative numbers.
You can always go lower with the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. They're resetting the bar. It's really amazing. Do you believe Tara Reid?
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
I absolutely believe her. It's not even a question in my mind. And I try, to do my best. I'm trying to overcome my own biases. But like over the years, I've always had this weird feeling about Joe Biden. And I don't know how you don't have that feeling when you look at all of the pictures of him really invading their personal space, when you see that they're visibly uncomfortable, the sniffing of the hair. This is not normal behavior. Normal people don't do that. So I thought that, and Jamie Peck made a really great point about this recently. If he is doing all of that in front of the cameras, then it's not that much of a logical leap to think that he could possibly be doing worse. And with Tara Reid's allegations coming out, I mean, she has nothing to gain from this and everything to lose. She's like Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, getting threats, harassment. So yeah, in short, I absolutely believe her. And I honestly think that it's weird that some people don't. And I think that Democrats know better. I think they probably believe her, but it's a little bit of cognitive dissonance and not wanting to believe, that their hero, if he could be a hero to anyone, is capable of this.
Well, now there's like the neoliberal woke level where it's like, I believe her, but I'm voting for Biden anyway, and I don't really care all that much. Like there's that level of it now where people are just like, well, I believe her, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and you know what? I honestly, as much as that disgusts me, I respect that more than the lies and like the smears of her. Because if you're going to vote for Joe Biden, just vote for Joe Biden. Like, you don't have to drag Tara Reid through the mud. If the conclusion will be the same, just get there without doing all of the dirty stuff. And I respect the honesty. We can disagree, but at least we're being honest.
But couldn't that person just as easily say, I believe her, and because of that, Joe Biden needs to step down, and we need to get a respectable candidate in there? Because I want to be Trump. You know what I mean? Like it's just
absolutely. But I mean, one thing that I've come to learn over this election cycle is that I just don't get liberals. I thought that we were frenemies. We're not even like, I don't understand them. They speak a different language than me. I don't get their logic. I think I was naive enough, even as recently as 2019, to think that they still stood for something, even some of them, right? But I don't think they do anymore. Like, I don't get it. Like, this election cycle is really mask off. And I said that about 2016. But I mean, in 2016, if you told me what we know now in 2020, I would have thought you were crazy. It couldn't get any worse. Just, Democrats took that as a challenge, and
hold our beers.
Totally. I mean,
we can do this.
And I don't know what 2024 has in store, but I don't want to know.
Well, I made my prediction. It's going to be Paul Ryan versus a Democrat with a murder allegation. They're going to find someone who has a murder allegation floating around. They're going to run that person against. And I know a lot of people are saying Paul Ryan's not. I think Paul Ryan's going to have some weird comeback. I could be totally wrong, but I think I
You
think
know
he's
what?
waiting in the wings, pumping iron with Rage Against the Machine blasting in his earphones, not
Well-
understanding any of the words, and he's gonna come back.
That's totally possible. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that we're having some conversation about why you have to support Mitt Romney because Roy Moore is worse. Because, in this alternate reality or possible real reality, Mitt Romney won as a Democrat and he got the nominate. Like, there's like American politics is so crazy that you can't rule anything out at this point. Like, I don't understand it. There's no logical way to analyze and approach American politics. The only thing to expect is the unexpected. It's insanity. And I don't know what to make of any of this. I can't make any predictions. I don't even know that I can do like an analysis after something takes place because there's so many factors that go into everything that happens. It's just the culmination of, this clusterfuck of events that make no logical sense.
Has it bummed you out doing the show?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I ramped down the show quite a bit.
Really?
By 25 to 50%. Like, I'm still doing the show. But I think that right now, so I can be like, I don't know, a better host, a better leader, if you consider me a leader. I don't necessarily know that I am, but in a way, I'm a leader. I have a platform.
You're my leader.
You're my leader, so it's
we got this figured out.
I've just been trying to distract myself. I've been playing lots of video games, Animal Crossing in particular. I got the puppy.
All right, everybody loves that thing. You got to explain it to me because and all right, you're explaining this to a guy who I'm a total Luddite when it comes to video games. Not on purpose. And I think I think we've talked about this off mic before. But so when I was a kid, like I was the guy where for whatever reason, Nintendo and all that stuff gave me a headache. So
really?
So I was the most popular kid on video game day because I was the kid that was happy to just talk to people and not play.
Oh.
I was that kid. It got to everyone's fighting for the controller. It got to the point where they're like, Ron, don't you wanna? And I'm like, nah, you guys, I'm good. And I don't know why I didn't and I never said why either. I just kind of was like, I'm good. You guys go ahead. You guys are doing good at this. You're better than me. And I don't know why I never said like, this stuff actually gives me a headache. So I don't, I just want to hang out. Like, I don't want to play. I guess I thought like maybe they think it was weird if I was like hanging out and I didn't really want to play. I just wanted to be social, which, that's not weird at all. I don't think, but
not at all.
But yeah, I never like admitted why.
Yeah, that's
Just
fine.
my thing. Now I'm fine. I mean, I played like I think it was like one of those, how they have those game systems now where you can play the games from back in the day.
Yeah.
Like they've remade the games. So I did like Mario Kart and I was fine. It didn't give me a headache at all. I guess I've like outgrown it, but like I was ridiculously terrible. Like it was one of those things where it was like, I was with my wife, my fiance at the time. This was like before we got married. And it was like one of her like best friends. And it was one of those situations where they were really excited for the guys to meet because her husband and I had a lot in common as far as music we liked and stuff like that. And they knew that. So they were real excited for us to meet. And we ended up getting along really good. Like we had a lot in common when it came to music and humor. So we were talking about like different bands we wanted to turn the other one onto. And we had a similar sense of humor. So they were all excited. And then we went and we played these video games. And he was just like, how are you this bad at this? And I'm like, when I was a kid, I never. And then like we went downstairs and he just goes, are you sure you want to marry this guy? Do you know how bad he is at Mario Kart? And it was really funny. But so I've always been that guy. So anyway, explain this Animal Crossing thing to me because everyone loves it. And I want to try to understand it.
Yeah. Okay. So the best way that I can describe it is it's a video game for people that don't necessarily play video games. It's kind of an escape. Like you create your own island, and you are a slave to the capitalist system and the capitalist overlord of Tom Nook, who's a talking raccoon. Who he will sell you a house, and then you are indebted to him. And you hang out. There's really no point to it. You fish to make money. You catch bugs. It's incredibly fun. You fuck around, talk to the animals. When I walk up to them, they tell me to eat a dick now, because I taught them to do that.
You taught them to say "eat a dick."
Yeah, it's one of the greetings. They have
So they say it
nicknames for
like a
me.
salutation.
Yeah, they say hey, or if they're angry, eat a dick. They kind of end the sentences with it.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I've gotten really into this, a little bit of a beef with someone named Pietro, who is a sheep clown, and I'm trying to get him to move out of my town. It's honestly,
So wait, is Pietro a fellow player? Like it's another person online somewhere? Like
no.
you don't.
So
Okay.
you have 10 other animals that can move into your town, talking animals, and they each kind of have their own personalities. Like I have, a talking, well, they all talk, a chicken, a mouse, and a bull, and they all are really into working out. So they'll be in the town square, just, pumping iron. It's just really cute. It's like a cute game, and you can, collect furniture, rearrange your house. You can terraform your town, add waterfalls. It's just kind of like it's therapeutic in a way. There's not really like an end to the game. It's not like I've beat the game. I mean, you can say that maybe when you pay off your loan in your house, but it's just about kind of hanging out and distracting yourself. And this is a game that, my mom has been addicted to ever since back in, the GameCube days and whatnot. And other people who don't necessarily play video games, they hear me talk about it and they want to play it because, I think that what everyone really wants right now is a distraction. And I feel like this has really been a really nice distraction. So if you like aren't really inclined to want to play video games, which it's not everyone's cup of tea, this is one of those games where it could be different. But some people just, they won't get it, because I think that if you don't realize that the point is that there's no point, then it's not really going to click for you, which it didn't click for me at first too. But, long story short, it's a really nice distraction. And I've put hundreds of hours into the game, and I'm embarrassed to admit that. But you know what? It's my life now.
So it kind of sounds like The Sims, but with animals. Is that sort of what's going on?
Yeah. I think that's pretty similar. I mean, you're kind of just like, you're taking care of not necessarily people, but an island. You're cultivating friendships. Yeah, I think if you like The Sims, this is in that genre, like the life simulation genre, and I think that you might be interested in Animal Crossing for sure.
I'll check it out. Maybe. I don't know. I'm more of a my distractions are just kind of binge watching different things these days.
That's a good distraction, though. To be fair, that's a really good distraction.
Are you watching anything cool?
I just finished watching The Office for
British or American?
American.
Do you like the British?
I haven't seen the British one. I've watched a couple of episodes.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
Is it good? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, fool. I'm a big fan of a lot of Ricky Gervais's stuff. I thought Extras was brilliant. One of the newer things I like is Afterlife, which is it's a lot. Yeah, it's really good. It's on Netflix, and it's a lot darker. I mean, it's still a comedy, but it sort of blurs the line of like, is this even a comedy? But it's it's really brilliant. Like the premise of it is Ricky Gervais, his wife died of cancer, and he's coping with it.
Oh, okay.
And it's very dark, but it's a really good show. Like just a really, really cool show. At least I liked it a bunch. So I like a lot of his shows and a lot of his stuff, and I like a lot of Stephen Merchant stuff too. Like I thought Hello Ladies was great. So I like the British Office a lot. And I also liked I liked Saxondale, and I liked the Inbetweeners, the UK Inbetweeners a lot. So
I like British humor. So all of this stuff is new to me. Like I haven't watched this. So yeah, I could see it. Do you remember the show Keeping Up Appearances from like the 90s? It was on PBS.
I don't.
Okay, it was this British show that was basically my all-time favorite show as a child, and I've never told anyone this before. So this is really special, Ron.
Nice.
And it's just about a lady who is just she wants to keep up appearances. She's, lower middle class, but she wants everyone to think that she's rich. Her last name is Bucket, but she, makes sure everyone pronounces it as Bouquet. So she, seems proper. So I like British humor. So I'm going to have to check some of this out. I haven't seen, admittedly, a lot of Ricky Gervais's stuff. when you were describing Afterlife, I was thinking of Ghost Town, which
Okay.
is a different thing. That's a movie, and I thought that was actually really good. Surprisingly, I thought it looked stupid, but watched it and liked it. So I'll have to check some of this out because I need more stuff to watch now that The Office is over again, and I'm not going to watch it again anytime soon.
Check out the British Office and
Okay.
check out and you know, one of the things that my personal I like the fact that over there in the UK, when they do a series, they do like 2 seasons and then a movie, maybe another movie if the first movie does really well, and then it's done. They
Yeah.
don't draw out the story. I mean, I like the American Office a lot. I thought that a lot of the seasons were really funny. But then I thought it got to a point where it was just like, oh God, what are they doing?
It went on 2 seasons too long.
It
I
really
think
did.
maybe 3 seasons too long. Yeah, all American shows are like that. They do go on too long, which is why I think that like Breaking Bad was so beloved because it ended when it needed to end. Like Walking Dead. I mean, how many of us tuned out of Walking Dead? Like I think I made it like 6 or 7 seasons in, and it's like, okay, they're not going anywhere with this. So like you've got to end it if you want to leave people like with a really conclusive like a story, I think. But you know, that's just me. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that you've got to make it short but sweet.
Yeah, and the British Office totally does that. I think it's like 2 seasons, so you can like binge it pretty quick. And then they do the
Okay.
movie, and then the other thing, if you like British humor, you got to check out Inbetweeners.
Okay. Okay. I haven't
It's
heard of that. So
oh, dude, Inbetweeners. I got my wife into it, and I mean, I've rewatched that series probably more times than I want to count because it'd be one of those things
okay.
like, well, it'd be like one of those things like after a show, I'm in a hotel room, I'm by myself, just chilling out, you know, and I'll just want to watch something before bed, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna watch some Inbetweeners because it's just really funny, and it's these kids, it's just basically following these high school kids. And
Okay.
they're idiots. Like they're just complete. They just get into trouble. They do stupid things all the time, and it all revolves around them chasing girls. Just high school kids being idiots, but it's so funny, and the stuff they
Okay.
say is just so ridiculous. And then it's one of those things where in the very end, because it's one, it did, I think they did 3 seasons. It was either 2 or 3 seasons, and then they ended up doing 2 movies.
Hmm.
And in the very end, they really grow up, and they
Hmm.
finally like they finally grow up. So I mean, they're still only like 19 years old, so it's not like they've grown up, but they've matured some, and you know, they're sort of like you were rooting for them to not be idiots, even though it was
Yeah.
funny, and you're like, come on, will you guys for once just not do something that's totally ridiculous? And then they don't, you know, not really a spoiler, but like just kind of, you know, it follows that theme.
Nice.
But yeah, Inbetweeners.
Is it on Netflix?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
good. Okay.
Inbetweeners is on Netflix,
I'm gonna check it
and
out.
check out Inbetweeners, man. You're gonna dig it, I promise.
Okay, and see, part of the reason why I love British humor is because in the shows that you watch, especially the comedies, well, not even just the comedies, not that I watch a lot, but I always love when they say "piss off." Like it's my favorite thing in the world.
You'll love Inbetweeners then because they use like all the slang in that show, and it's
Okay,
just so funny to like hear them like just the way they say it. It's just so freaking funny.
I'm
Because it's
excited.
like because their slang is just really funny.
Yeah, it is.
I just think their slang is so much funnier than ours. Like just
We have
so much
no
funnier.
slang that's good in the
Yeah, we
United
really
States.
don't. We really don't. But just like the words they say, and just the
That's
way they
awesome.
say them is just so fun. Like just saying the word like for a female genitalia, clunge. That's so freaking funny. Like that's hilarious. Are you kidding? We don't have anything like that. Like
It's so much more
fanny
creative.
lunch. It really is, and it's so funny. And the way like they never say it the same way twice. And these are just high school kids where everything just revolves around where are the girls gonna be. And so they'll be like, this place is gonna be swimming and clunge, and you're just like, what? They just do a million variations of that. They never say the same thing twice.
Oh my god. Okay,
And
you've
it's
got me
just
sold.
so funny.
You've got me sold on this, especially now because I don't know if you've heard of the show what is it? It's The End of the World. It's on Netflix. It's like a British Netflix original.
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it yet though.
I don't know if it's a comedy. Like it's kind of funny, but it's really really dark and just like when they're funny, they're so funny. Like British people, just because part of it is the accent, like the way that they talk, like it sounds sophisticated. So when they say something like dirty, then it's like extra funny to it because it's like, well, it sounds like you shouldn't be saying that, like because you sound so like cool, like the accent's cool. So when you say crunch, that's I like it.
The best. It is the best. Like yeah, you'll love that show. You will
Okay, I'll
love
check
that
that
show.
out. Okay.
So let's hammer on another issue that both you and I are very passionate about. Net neutrality,
Yes.
municipal broadband. That's something both of us talk about a lot in our shows. And the one thing, and I've been talking about this a lot. One of the again, you look for the different small silver linings in a situation like this to kind of maintain some amount of optimism. One of the other ones that I see, other than my super fit fur baby Lucy, is is I think that a lot of people are realizing now, if they didn't realize it before, that the internet is a utility in our life. The
Yeah.
same way running water is a utility, the same way making a phone call is a utility. The internet is a utility in our life. And because of this, you're seeing just this huge uptick, even bigger than before. And as soon as net neutrality was repealed, it got a big shot in the arm. I feel like this is another shot in the arm for city-owned internet and municipal broadband. I mean, you're hearing about stuff. I mean, there's something, and I got to do some more digging into it, but apparently North Dakota has some big thing now that they've invested in, some big municipal broadband project, and they might get the gold star soon. They might
Wow.
get the gold star from Chattanooga soon, potentially. I got to look into it more. But I know there's something big brewing in North Dakota. There's still something happening in the Portland area where you are, where I am. Santa Monica, it's grown a little bit more. And I'm still trying to find a way to really get that engine started here in Pasadena. With the quarantine, it's been difficult to
Yeah.
really have any amount of growth there. But it's still something I'm looking into. So do you see this continuing?
I do, because I think you made a really good point. Like, one thing about quarantine that I think is going to be really clear is that people's lives are going to be different. Like, we'll get back to a sense of normalcy. The pandemic will end at some point. But a lot of these companies, they're going to realize that workers can work from home, and that's going to save them money. Why rent a space when you can have your workers do the same thing from home? You make some adjustments, but they're going to need to work from home. And so a large part of employment in America, I think, will really hinge on access to the internet. And I think that as that need grows, not just as something that, we kind of we do it for fun as an activity, like it's a necessity now, and that's only going to grow. So I actually am optimistic here as well, because people are going to need an internet connection, and not just any internet connection, a stable one, a good one, because we do video conferencing now. Zoom has grown. So all of these things are kind of building a case for a publicly owned broadband, a case for, I don't know in what way necessarily, but increasing access. And I don't like to use the word access because, Democrats made it dirty, but really
Right.
making sure that everyone has access to the internet in rural areas as well. And, that was something that Ajit Pai was trying to, argue, that we should repeal net neutrality because it's going to be better for rural areas.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
he recently got caught fudging all the numbers to make it seem like broadband was increasing,
yeah.
when in fact it wasn't. In fact,
Yeah.
all the jobs that they promised, that was all a lie. AT&T actually cut jobs. They've just pocketed all this money. So everything Ajit Pai said, not that this comes to the surprise of anyone who's been following this issue, but everything was just a straight up lie. And now he's having to try to fudge numbers to make himself look better, because even the powers that be are kind of being like, dude, what's going on here, buddy? And
Yeah.
so, I think it's only a matter of time. And, Bernie Sanders had that high-speed internet for all bill. He was the only candidate to have anything like that. And when you look at that study, that I think it was Harvard, and then the Institute of Local Self-Reliance was involved with that too, which they're like the big, they're the big organization behind a lot of the municipal broadband projects throughout the country. That study found that 100% of the time, municipal broadband is cheaper than what the big cable companies are trying to do. And pretty much 100% of the time, they offer better service. And
Yeah.
the only exceptions to that better service part are the projects that aren't finished yet. So basically, it's just like in this city, what the city offers you is about neck and neck with what the cable companies are offering you as far as quality. It's cheaper and it's nearly the same quality. There's a little like maybe every now and again, depending on the hour of the day, the speed might be slightly higher with this big cable company, but that's only part of the time, and it's only because our city project's not finished yet. We're still in the middle of it. So once we're done, it's going to be way better. And all the ones that are done are already way better. So it's pretty much got 100% success rate of being way better for a city and a community because you get better internet at a better price. Isn't that America? Isn't that the competition everybody's talking about? Isn't that exactly what that is? Isn't an organized duopoly by the cable companies, which is exactly what they have. It is a mafioso style organized duopoly where they don't infringe on everyone's territory. They offer crappy service because they know they got a monopoly and they're the only game in town, and they price gouge because the only thing that matters is their bottom line. Isn't that the opposite of competition? Isn't that the opposite of innovation? We've completely screwed the pooch on this one, and it's because it's what big cable wanted. And now we have the opportunity to kind of take this infrastructure back, and we're starting to do it. And if we don't, we're going to be telling our grandchildren and our children and our grandchildren what the internet used to be like.
Yeah, totally. And like, it's a no-brainer. Like, if you know what municipal broadband is, it's a no-brainer. Anytime I explain it to someone who doesn't know what it is, they're immediately sold. And it's simple. Like, I'm not trying to jump through hoops to convince them. It's just a no-brainer because everyone knows how horrible Comcast is or whatever your provider is. But I will say this about Jeet Pai. He's putting in so much work for the industry. I'm sure he will be rewarded with a very, very high-paying job at Verizon, wherever.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
has there ever been a more like brazen shill? And like, I know I throw that word around a lot, but when we're talking about a shill, like, there's nobody worse than Ajit Pai. So he will be awarded like with an executive position, I'm going to guess, because the things that he has done to undermine the internet at the behest of them and increasing their profits, it's honestly insane.
Oh, it's beyond. Yeah. I mean, that video he made once, did you ever see that video where he's just like, net neutrality, we don't need it? And he had like a fidget spinner and
Oh
stuff. And he
God.
was trying to look hip. And it's like, oh my God. And even just the way that guy talks. And it's just like, you're
So
just
fake.
an obnoxious dude. And yeah, I mean, I think if we had to give a gold star for like most willing shill, most shameless willing, I mean, man, I don't know if he gets the number one spot because that's a hard spot to assign, but he's in the running.
He's
He's on
like
the
top
list big
3.
time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like that guy because he knows what he's doing. It's not like he
Mhm.
doesn't realize this is all bullshit.
Oh,
They
totally.
just said, who's willing to just lie for us and be the lightning rod for this? And he basically said, what does it pay? Sure, I'll sign up. I mean, anyone who falls for anything that guy says, you're being duped by someone with a lot of money and a lot of power. You're just being lied to. There's no logical argument against net neutrality. There's no logical argument for what Ajit Pai is doing. It's all, I mean, even when you look at it, I mean, even when you take like the libertarian approach to it, where it's just like, well, the free market, blah, blah, blah. Again, these organized duopolies aren't the quote unquote free market. That's not competition. That's not the competition you talk about. That's not what that is. Real
Mhm.
competition would be allowing the city to build their own infrastructure. And if their infrastructure isn't good, well, I guess cable will overtake them then, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that how it works in your world? So what are you worried about? And I did notice something in the chat here. Someone said, "Is this also good for smaller towns?" Yes, this is
Yeah.
totally good for smaller towns. There's a town in Massachusetts, Charlemagne, Massachusetts, that just got it. They're a town of, I think, 7,000. It's like 7,000 or 9,000. They're a small town. There are small towns in Ohio that can do this. It really doesn't matter the size of your town because, different sizes have different needs and different infrastructure needs. So no matter the size of your town, it can be done. There are so many ways to do it. And again, you would just be paying your internet bill to the city instead of paying your internet bill to Comcast or Verizon. And, the other thing, getting on what you said about Comcast, Mike, people look, when your internet infrastructure isn't going well, who would you rather have dealing with this? Some third party entity that's in big cable land, and you call a customer service, who knows where the person is who picks up. The contractor they send out is exactly that, a contractor. They don't even work for the company in a lot of cases, and they're just there doing whatever. Or would you rather have it be your neighbor who deals with the same internet as you? How often do you think the internet's going to go wrong if your mayor is dependent on that same internet? And if it's out for you, it's going to be out for your mayor as well. Think about that.
Yeah. Oh, and the best part is that, like, if you're dissatisfied with it, you can vote out the people who are in control of it. You can't vote who's on the board of Comcast. You can't vote who's the regional director of Comcast Internet in your area, whatever title they have. Like, you own it. You control it. That's the best part. It's an easy sell. And I think this really crosses party lines. It's nonpartisan. Like, locally, I think you have a really good chance at doing this. And this is what you've been so great at, promoting, Ron, is that in their own towns and their, localities, they can make this happen. Because this is something that's difficult to facilitate nationwide. And I think that Bernie had a phenomenal plan to really add to funding, so that way, smaller rural areas can do this, but you can get the ball rolling yourself. That's kind of one thing, not to go on a tangent, but that I'm kind of taking away from the loss of this election for us, is that local politics is something that you can still control. You have power, and net neutrality is one of the easiest things you can do to make a difference. You might not win that battle, but you might. It's if you haven't tried, if nobody's asked their city council why we don't have municipal broadband, then you could be the person who makes a difference. So it's just a matter of trying, getting involved, and joining an organization. Even if it's not a net neutrality or issue specific organization, some type of political organization, it really will help with these types of things, right? So you start a local DSA chapter in your neighborhood, things like that help to empower you.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, this is one of those things where it's we don't need some big national policy, because we can do so much at the local level. And then we can do a lot at the state level too. I mean, when they had that big ruling, and this was one of the few times where I actually, I was in disagreement with free press, which I like free press a lot. I know some people there, they do a lot of amazing things. But this was one time where I actually disagreed with some of their assessment, because there was that court ruling where there are two rulings that happened. One, they upheld the repeal of net neutrality, which of course sucked. They were like, yeah, net neutrality is repealed and it's going to stay that way. But we kind of knew, given the makeup of the court, that was likely going to happen, that there wasn't going to be enough to roll it back quite yet. So that sucked, but we kind of saw it coming. The other court ruling, though, which was, in my opinion, the good outweighed the bad here, was they said that states can have any net neutrality laws they want, and that can't be overrun at the federal level. They ruled on the behest of states. And I've been saying this since day one too. It's look, we got a killer net neutrality bill in California that's been moving forward. And New York's got one too. California gets a solid bill. New York gets a solid bill. We're safe, because guess what? All these big cable companies, they're not going to unroll all these anti-net neutrality packages when they can't get the business in California and the business in New York. They're screwed. Exactly. So all you need and then every state's going to follow suit anyway. Every state's going to also get a law anyway. But once you get two big players like California and New York, you're good. So it's that ruling was actually, the way I saw it, the pros outweighed the cons there. Were there cons? Of course there were. It was a bummer that they upheld the repeal. And had they not done that, we would have just gotten net neutrality back, and it sucked. But the fact that we still got power at the state level, that's huge. That's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it, because I was really disappointed when that ruling came out, because I wanted to I wanted it to be a blowout. This was so dirty. It was so shameless. I wanted to win, but as time goes on, I think that your assessment of it is more accurate, because like you said, it's a lot of work to plan different, packages throughout the country. And if you have the two biggest states, yeah, you're not going to do that. And living along the West Coast, we all have net neutrality in Washington, Oregon. That bill doesn't go as far as California with a ban on zero rating, but our net neutrality laws here are very strong. So I have net neutrality in Oregon, and it sucks that other states don't have it, and I want to fight for them. But I think that, the wind is blowing in a certain direction. And even if we had a pretty big temporary blow, I think that ultimately, long term, this will be better for the movement, because nobody was talking about municipal broadband before Ajit Pai chose to repeal net neutrality. So, you can, I think it is okay to look for the silver lining in these types of things, because it's leading to something that's better. Like, if he hadn't repealed net neutrality, I think we all would have just shut up and taken our Comcast. We would have complained here and then. But I mean, there was really no need for action, no catalyst. But I think that this repeal was the catalyst that kind of lit a fire under lots of our asses. I mean, it certainly did for me. It made me really think there has to be something better. I'm done with Comcast. This is unacceptable. I'm not going to wait for them to sell me an internet package like TV, So yeah, I think that at the end of the day, we can look for the good in this. And I'm not going to say that I'm an accelerationist and that everything has to get, worse before it gets better. But in this issue, I really believe that things are headed in the right direction. And if there's any issue that I do feel optimistic about, it really is the net neutrality issue, just because that's something that public opinion has remained firmly committed to. And it's not just the left. It's Republicans. This is a nonpartisan issue. And because it is a nonpartisan issue, I think that any attempt to mess with the internet will be met with heavy resistance.
Oh, yeah.
So absolutely.
Well, I always like to point out to people, I'm like, look, the place where there's the most municipal broadband projects happening is in Tennessee. That's a red state. That's not some blue state. That's a red state. But why is that? Well, because Chattanooga, Tennessee has some of the best internet in the world, not just in the country, in the world. Why do they have that? Well, because they started building municipal broadband early on. It actually wasn't one of the first municipal broadband projects. There were other ones before Chattanooga, but because of Chattanooga's like grid, like the power grid that they had, they were able to build like, the most extensive one. And they still have that to this day. So now Tennessee, when you see, I mean, that's the one thing. Municipal broadband is very like, it catches on, it spreads. It's very, this is a weird word to use right now, but it's very contagious. The good kind of contagious, not the bad kind, the good kind. Because I mean, someone mentioned Massachusetts in the chat, after Charlemont got it, now Cambridge is pushing for it. There's a part of Cape Cod that just got it. This stuff spreads, Sandy, Oregon got it. So now Portland really wants it. This is a thing that it's like when you see your neighbors have it and you see the fact that it's like, wait a second, you sent big cable packing and now you get better internet at a cheaper price. Oh, and guess what? It brought local jobs to the area too. And it brings business to the area because it's an investment. I mean, that's the thing. And especially like when you're going to your city council meetings and you're fighting for this, it's okay to speak their language a little bit and say, look, this is an investment in the city. This isn't charity that you're doing. We're all going to pay our internet bills here. We're not asking for free internet. That's not what we're asking for. That'd be nice. And maybe someday we'll get there, but we're not there yet. And that's okay. Yeah. We're paying our internet bills, but this is an investment into the city. That's what this is. So like, don't just focus on the price tag. Think about what the investment that this is. Think about what this will bring. And that's what I say in Southern California, because I'm like, dude, we're the capital of show business. If we have the strongest internet in Southern California, what do you think that's going to do for the area? What do you think that would do for, I live in Pasadena. What do you think that would do for Pasadena if Pasadena had the better internet than all the surrounding area in Los Angeles? What do you think that would do?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. And I like that you said, to use their words like investment, because you have to meet people on their level. We live in a capitalist society, and you're not going to get members of city council to really be interested in something unless they think that there's going to be a payoff. So if they have something to brag about to their constituents, hey, we invested, we got X amount of jobs and whatnot, we brought in this much revenue, that's gonna help build your case. So I think it's perfectly fine if you use any argument to get it, as long as you get the policies, that are going to benefit people, then do it by whatever means necessary, as long as you're not, I shouldn't say whatever means necessary, but you know what I mean. Like, you can use capitalist language to, I guess, guide them gently into the socialist
Yeah.
position if you want
Right,
to,
right, right. Yeah. Well, it's the truth,
Exactly, exactly.
it is good for, it is quote unquote good for business.
It
That's
literally
been
is.
proven. So, it's not like you're making stuff up. It's the
Yeah.
truth. You're just delivering it to them in a way where they're more susceptible to be like, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Marketing.
Marketing, baby.
It's something the left, I think, has got to get better at. We've got to market ourselves better. Don't know how to do it, but I know we have to.
Man, I think I'm going to email my city council member right after this. Because, there was one city council guy that was kind of on board with the idea. And I was like, well, if I can like really get him to get on board, we might be able to move forward. So I guess I'd imagine he has a little bit of free time right now. I should probably drop him an email.
That's actually I'm glad you said that, because I talked to the county commissioner, and he told me about how in our area we had municipal broadband before. We had municipal dial-up. This was in the 2000s. So he said, there's kind of a precedent for that. So it wouldn't necessarily be out of the question. It's just a matter of how much would this cost? How do we set up the infrastructure for broadband? So he was open to it. I haven't done a good job at following up. And I need to do that. So I'm glad that we had this conversation. I always get fired up when I talk to you about net neutrality, because this has been such like a pet issue for us for years now.
Yeah.
And it's like the one issue where it feels like we're winning, So and that sounds weird after we had, we have a Republican shill Ajit Pai as the FCC commissioner, but I mean, in a way, things are trending in our direction, I think. So it does feel like we can actually make a difference here.
Well, the thing is that city-owned internet all across the country, which is just an easier way of saying municipal broadband, it's all the same thing. That just ends this permanently.
Exactly.
Like it's over. Like the net neutrality war is over completely, and we've won it. So because things are moving in that direction, it's like Ajit Pai and his shill crew took one step backwards, but that one step backward gave us an opportunity to just get to the finish line. And once we're there, you ain't going to take this away.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, once people have something like that, they will take to the streets if you try to remove that from them. They're not going to accept Comcast coming in and privatizing it. Like, that's something that they have experience with, and knowing how horrible all of these private ISPs are. It really is the one permanent solution to net neutrality. And I'm so glad that this has become something that people are talking about, to where, even though Bernie didn't win, the fact that he brought this up as, part of his campaign platform in and of itself, I think is a really, really good sign of what's to come. That there is some political will there. It's just a matter of just following through, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mike, where can people go to learn more about you?
They can go to humanistreport.com. That's kind of like the hub where it links to our YouTube, Twitter. But I'm all over the place. Twitter, Facebook, look me up.
Humanistreport.com. Mike, thanks so much for stopping by today, man. I love talking to you.
Thank you, Ron. Anytime.
Cheers, buddy.
Take care.
All right. That was Mike Figueredo of the Humanist Report. Let me see what you guys are saying. Sasha, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. Public broadband for the win. Right? I like having someone to talk to about it. It just fires me up more. Like Mike was saying, it's like we're both big net neutrality enthusiasts, city-owned internet enthusiasts. So when you talk to someone else, you're like, yeah, we're going to win this thing. I hope that makes you feel a little bit uplifted. I feel like we all need that right now. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Graham Elwood and I have a show this Saturday. We're doing an e-show on Zoom. We've been doing them on Saturdays. We have one this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can go to my website, ronplagone.com, to get tickets. Tickets are just $5, and you get a Zoom link about an hour before showtime, and then you can use that link to watch the show. They've been a lot of fun. Not being able to tour has hurt my heart a lot. It really hurts. But these Zoom shows have been a cool way to feel a little less alone and to see all of you and laugh with all of you. It's been a lot of fun. So if you're interested, romplacone.com. Grab those tickets. It's on Zoom, so you don't have to worry about the city. It's for the internet. We can all be there. romplacone.com. If you are on stable ground financially, patreon.com/romplacone. If you are so able and interested, for Give What You Can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content, including my album, all kinds of video clips not available anywhere else. I do a Zoom show for my patrons once a week, where I do a Zoom show for just the patrons. Those have been a lot of fun. And I do a patrons only stream where I only respond to the patrons during that stream. It's a lot of fun. If you got an extra $1 a month that you can spare, even $1 a month goes a long way. Patreon.com/romplacone. And if you're not on stable ground, I totally understand. Please do not do anything that you cannot feasibly afford. Do not do that. You get it. Guys, thanks so much for being here. You know the drill. In the meantime, Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.